This is how you install your main headliner. When you there's 3 tin or metal angle irons around the edge on both sides and in the back. Put the back one in before you put your headliner in, and just have it barely catching the bolts. And then you can slip your headliner into the slot at the back of the cab. We'll get to that in just a second, but there's a little right here. Here's a slot just under the speaker grill mounts, and now you want to slip your headliner into this slot. We've taken the glass out of this cab for ease of videoing and get better shots so you can see what we're doing. When you do this, you do not need to take the windows out. You do need to use a 3/8 inch open end wrench. If it's not an open end wrench, you can't get it between the glass and the bolt. But centered on the speaker grills, if you have that bracket, L bracket down far enough in the back, it'll slide in there easily. It's a one-man job if you do it in this procedure. If you use this procedure to do it, it's pretty simple. Then you go to the front and you push in the Christmas tree fasteners. And that will make the headliner self-supporting. So it'll hold itself up there if you're in the angle in the back and Christmas tree fasteners in the front. And then you go to the side brackets, the L pieces on the sides, or they're little pieces of tin angle, and you put those on. But right now it's just pointing out that the headliner is centered. If you have speakers in your tractor, you'll want to cut the inserts out of the headliner before you install it. This particular is an early 30 model and it does not have the speaker grills. When you put the brackets on the sides, push them up firmly, as far up as you can get into the slots. You want that headliner tight in there to eliminate squeak and rattle. There shouldn't be any squeak and rattle anyway because there's no plastic to metal contact, because those edges are fully rolled over and finished. But you want it in there nice and tight so it's not flopping around. And this also helps with the speaker grill alignment by getting that headliner pushed all the way up. I'm going to put this front headliner in for you. What we're doing right here is we're twisting these Christmas tree fasteners to break the bond between the adhesive and the fastener itself. Makes it a little easier to line up. You can see on the back of this part there are several optional cutouts. If you have a radio or which dome light you have, you need to cut those out prior to putting it in the tractor. This early 30 series, none of that's applicable. Start on the right hand side, pushing these Christmas tree fasteners in one at a time. Get them completely tight, push them all the way up. I really recommend against using a hammer. I've seen people recommend that, and it's a bad idea. You hit that front glass, it could shatter, chip very easily. So as you can see here, not too much of a struggle to push those in with your hands, but if you have some medical condition and you don't have the hand strength, just start the tip there and use a rubber mallet or a plastic mallet, or actually even a little piece of 2x4 or something, but keep metal away from that glass. That's a poor idea. But it lines up, it goes in pretty easily. You just push those fasteners into place and you're ready to go. Once you've got your headliners back in place, you need to replace the bezels. This is a 4-louver bezel that Tractor Interiors makes. We also make an interchangeable 8-louver bezel that you can put in. When you start putting this in, do not tighten it all the way, particularly if you're using an old bezel, because it could be brittle, and if you tighten up one screw all the way down and you let that thing dangle by that screw, you can bust the corners off very easily. So we recommend you go around and randomly put screws in, get them all just started, and then go back and tighten them up. The AC bezel is available, like I said, they're interchangeable, the 4 for the 8. So if you want to upgrade to an 8-louver, you can go ahead and put an 8-louver bezel in, shoot a little more air towards that front window for defrosting if you want. We also have the 4-louver available. I don't know if you can get it anywhere else, and it's very original looking. It's not exactly right. The louvers are slightly different than the original one. We've had people too that would want to put a brown louver in here because they upgrade the colors. They'll put a sailcloth tan headliner set in and a multi-brown lower, and we can take care of any of those requests too. We can put a brown bezel and scuff guards in your 30 series tractor and really spiff it up and make it look a lot newer. After you get all the screws in, go back around and tighten them all up. You don't have to over tighten. We suggest that you use a screwdriver, not a screw gun. Okay, we're gonna put this air filter door cover onto the air filter door panel itself. We've cleaned it off. As you can see, it's not cleaned off 100%. All you have to do is get the loose dirt and grime off of there and get the bulk of it off. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And same when you're gluing your kits to your sheet metal in your tractor. Just get the bulk of the loose stuff off. No dust or dirt, very important. So when you use these cans, you need to hold them upright. They spray the best when you hold them upright. And always spray your plastic or your sheet metal first. Let that adhesive set up a little bit. And you can see the angle I'm holding this. I'm holding it so I don't get any glue on the back side of this edge right here. And I'll do that all the way around to keep the glue from spraying over that edge. That way you don't have to mask and clean that edge. Generous amount of glue on this thing. You don't want this thing coming apart, so don't be scared to use a little adhesive. The original ones on the 30 series were actually held on with metal clips. You can see there's like one of the holes right there where the metal clip went through, and one's right here. The newer ones are made out of acoustic foam instead of pressed fiberglass, so you don't need to worry about that. But you can get a generous supply of adhesive on the plastic. Make sure you give that plastic a little time to dry. You want that thing to be just barely tacky on the plastic or the sheet metal in your tractor if you're doing a glue-in kit. And you can have it a little bit damp on your foam, and it gives you a small opportunity to reposition it. So keep that in mind when you're working with this stuff. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to hold it so my overspray goes away from the vinyl when I spray it. You see a very generous supply of glue on this. I'm spinning it around so I can continue to spray away from my edge, so any glue that goes over the edge does not get on the vinyl. Okay, generous supply of glue on there. I'll move off of my plastic there. Okay. Then hold it upright and try to get it in around your knobs here. I'm lifting it off of the, trying to keep it so it does not catch on the plastic. Get that tucked underneath there. Like I said, you have a little bit of opportunity to move it around. Actually, I should have removed the tape off of here so the glue does not stick onto the tape. Now if you can see this edge, there's supposed to be a little gap right in between here, very small gap, and it's a little bigger than it should be, so I'm going to try to lift it off and shove it in there a little tighter. We'll go around to the other side, we'll tuck it inside that edge right there, just getting it barely inside that edge. And all this glue you see hanging out, don't get excited about that, we can cure that in a little bit. Got these sides all tucked in. Okay, now you can see all the sides have been tucked inside of this plastic. And you just go back through and put a little pressure on it. Set that down. And that's about all there is to it. Okay, now you see the little bit of adhesive hanging up here and there. Take a piece of tape, fold it back upon itself. That'll pick that stuff right up off of there. Clean that up, slick as a whistle. And like I said, probably would have been best if we'd have pulled this tape off of these knobs before we glued the piece of foam on, because what happens is you'll see right here on the edge of this tape there's a little bit of glue, and that foam will catch on that glue as it tries to go by because it's a contact adhesive. And if we would have removed the tape first, we could have got around this knob quite a bit easier, but it wasn't a big problem. So anyway, that's the way you get that glued on there, and we'll go ahead and show you how it goes into your cab. Going to show you how to put this air filter door panel back in. There's two slotted metal plates on either side of the piece, and what you want to do is insert the tabs above into the slots, pushing it up, and then there's a metal tang on the front. That tang needs to be pushed back slightly. It's got like a little hook on the end, and you put that into the slot and it'll grab that, keeps the thing from falling out. Then tighten up your two control knobs, and that's basically it. In this video we did not put the filter in. Don't forget to replace your pleated filter, and there's also a pre-filter in this piece in front of my hand right now. Tractor Interiors does have that pre-filter. If you need one of those, be a good time to replace it.